Welcome to day 2 of Manage Exam Stress the Heartfulness Way. Yesterday we talked about stress, what are the different types of stress, how it's so important for us to have a little bit of stress to really perform well, and what can we do about stress when it goes beyond limits and actually starts affecting us in a negative way. We also experience some techniques of heartfulness relaxation, meditation, and also another technique of how to immediately reduce the stress by doing something called left nostril breathing. I'm sure all of you really benefited from these. Do experiment and try for yourself whether they're working or not. So, a very heartfelt welcome to you in today's session, which is day 2, and our topic today is courage. Because sometimes that big task, big piles of books, the large portion, it looks so scary and so intimidating. The expectations, yesterday many students shared with us that when we asked what stresses you out, some of you said when people say tu to 10th mein hai, tu to 12th mein hai. This statement itself invokes so much fear in us, isn't it? So we need the courage to tackle something like this, to not feel discouraged, disheartened. And courage is a quality of the heart. Those of you who are learning French might know that the word cœur means heart. And so this word courage is derived from the word heart in French. So courage is a quality of the heart. And through heartfulness practices, what do? We build the heart. So let us begin with today's session. I welcome all of you. So maybe if we can start our PPT probably over here. So Pooja, can you start sharing the PPT here? Yes, I welcome all of you to this session today. Some basic housekeeping rules like we had yesterday, I'll very quickly go through them. Please be punctual so we all can be together so that the questions you ask us on live chat are being responded to in real time. Okay, so do join exactly at 5 o'clock. I really appreciate those who have joined us today on time. Listen attentively, be interactive. Okay, we have a live chat to interact with. Let's respect everybody's views. If you don't agree with something, that's okay. Just let it go. Let's not be on our mobiles while we're in the session, because then we'll not benefit from it, right? And have fun learning together. Okay, this is a learning experience for all of us. So let's all enjoy these sessions together, shall we? Now, I'd like to ask, let's interact with each other more than just through the live chat box. Why don't we interact with each other through something called Menti? I'm sure many of you have used it before. You need to go to www.menti.com on the chat box. Maybe one of our volunteers can type it in the live chat on YouTube, www.menti.com. And over there, I'd like to ask you one question. And the question is, where are you joining us from today? So I know many of you are joining us from all over Pune, and some of you are joining us from outside Pune and Maharashtra as well. So I'm very keen to know that where have you joined us from? Which city have you joined us from in India? So how do you answer us? You go to www.menti.com and you type the code 4330503. All right. So type this code after going into the browser and typing www.menti.com. You will see this question there and you can respond there and let us know that where are you joining us from? We are very eager to know. When we were looking at the registrations list, it was very heartening. First we saw students from Pune, then we saw from rest of Maharashtra, then we saw from outside Pune. See, we have Hyderabad here. Wonderful. Then we saw some of you have even joined us from Delhi. So we are really excited that, this has reached so many of you. So many of you all are joining. Some of you all are sharing on the live chat and you all are saying Hyderabad, Anand Mundra Tech Pune, uh, Palvi Bansude is from Pune. Then we have Mohabbat Singh Barak from Bhavnagar. So many of you all are sharing on the live chat, but it'll be great if you can share it on Menti. It'll really make it nice. Two of you all have shared Pune and Hyderabad. Can the rest of you also try to let us know on Menti from where you're joining us? After you need to type www.menti.com into your browser पे जाके ये www.menti.com टाइप करिए और ये जो कोड लिखा है यहाँ में 4330503 उसको टाइप करिए. Acha, now we have 4 responses. Most of y'all are from Pune. That's why we're seeing Pune, which is really enlarged. Some are from Hyderabad, Pune. Okay, wonderful. Some from Pimpri. Okay. So, it's like that when you learn of something good, why keep it to yourself, isn't it? It's good to spread it to as many as possible. Let it reach everyone. So with that feeling, we started this program that this is going to be something good. It's going to help our students. May it reach to as many as possible. And we really saw that happening, that from many far corners of our country, students have registered for this. We are seeing majority of them are still from Pune. So, all right. Thank you, students, and many of y'all are sharing on the live chat as well, and we are seeing that even there, y'all are joined us from many different cities, and that's very interesting to know. Thank you. Now, I'd like to ask you the next Menti question. The next Menti question is about today's topic, which is courage. Okay. So now, what is courage? What do you think courage is? Courage का definition क्या है? आपको क्या लगता है? Would you like to share with us? So please let us know in your opinion, what is courage? You can share on Menti. We prefer you share on Menti because, everyone can see your responses at one go. But if you're finding it difficult for some reason, तो आप YouTube के live chat पे भी share कर सकते हो. Okay, now this is the answer to the previous question, which was, which city are you joining from? किसी ने प्रयागराज लिखा है, thank you. लेकिन अभी हमारा question ये है कि what is courage? आपको क्या लगता है? Courage क्या चीज है? Courage किसे बोलते हैं? आप एक स्टेटमेंट लिख सकते हैं, सेंटेंस लिख सकते हैं, YouTube के लाइव चैट पे शेयर कर सकते हो. Let us know what do you think is courage. तो वही www.menti.com पे जाके 4330503 ये टाइप करके, okay, great, we have some answers. It is the ability to do something that frightens one. It is bravery. Fantastic answer. Because if someone is brave, you don't call that courage. But if someone is afraid to do something and does it anyway, that is something really worth congratulating, isn't it? Courage is a feeling like bravery. It is an ability. Someone is saying courage is a power which we have within us. Courage is being fearless. Very nice. Very nice. I like that as well. That is the traditional definition of courage, that someone who knows no fear. But really, when you do something that frightens you, that is real bravery. I love that answer. Thank you, dear student, whoever's answered that. Someone is saying having no fear. Would anyone else like to share? What do you think is courage? I'm very eager to hear, It's so refreshing to hear different viewpoints, especially the younger generation. I'm finding they are very original. They think differently. They know their mind. And sometimes they give you such a fresh viewpoint of something. So it's really, really interesting to know how you all think. I'm very, very eager to know what you think is courage. There might be a definition in the dictionary. You might Google it and get a definition, but we're not interested in that. We want to know what you think is courage. Okay, anyone else would like to answer? Are there any answers on the YouTube live chat that would someone like to share it with us here? Okay, wonderful. So you can continue answering. We will save this with us. Maybe we'll display it at the end. So those who have not responded so far, don't worry at all. You please continue. And once this page is more full and more of you have responded, we will display it again. So thank you very much. I think we can continue with our session right now. Okay, someone saying ready to do a difficult task. And again, someone said no fear. Thank you. So I think we can get back to the topic of today, which is courage. And I'm very, very happy to tell all of you that we have a very, very special guest amidst us today who will be conducting today's session. His name is Mr. Ganeshwar Sareen, and I'd like to formally introduce you to him. Here we have his profile. Mr. Ganeshwar Sareen, he is a postgraduate from the Delhi University. He has a rich experience in working with the corporate sector as well as non-profit sector. He has 21 years of experience at the Varun Shipping Group, heading corporate liaison and corporate affairs. He was also in the hospitality business and corporate social responsibility initiatives of the company. He served as a member of the State Wildlife Advisory Board of Uttarakhand. His skills are, he's a trainer and a practitioner of heartfulness meditation. He has extensively done training with all groups, all interested participants, whether they are youth, corporate, government, colleges. He's extensively conducted training. So we are so fortunate that he has spared time and he's with us here today. And his hobby, as you can see here, is he loves to meditate. So, Gyan sir, we are very, very happy that you took your time out and you agreed to conduct today's session. So, without wasting any more time, I'd like to hand over the reins of the session to you. Over to you, Gyan sir.
Thank you, Anjali. It's an extremely a great occasion for me. We are launching this wonderful initiative for our dear friends. So, hello all the participants today. I'm extremely happy to be joining you today and taking you through this session. So, as Anjali ma'am said, courage is the topic for the day. And we also asked you a question as to what courage is, and you all gave some very good answers. So let me also ask you now, do you think you are a man or a woman of courage? Do you think you have what we defined as courage? So let's just go over again onto the chat box. If you can just think for a moment and see what you feel courage is all about. Just pause for a moment and understand the meaning as it comes to you. And you think you have that in you. So let us see.
Yeah, there are different challenges in different times, actually.
Yes.
And now what the children have to face, they need to develop courage for facing different kind of situations.
Different kinds. So it could be exams. It could be a lot more in life. Exams is just one thing. So let's not here limit ourselves to just this immediate situation. Because if we have what we call courage, it's not just for the exams. It's going to be for all of life. So many different situations that we are going to face. So we are not going to restrict ourselves to this one situation only today. So as somebody has said, being fearless, ready to do difficult tasks, all of these definitions you all gave us. So just give a thought, look within yourself, and there's nothing to, feel apprehensive about. We are not testing you. We are just trying to see if you can introspect and face what is inside And then we go into understanding courage a little more deeply and see what it all means. I mean, from various people who have said so much about it, people have, you have great um, stories, inspiring stories of courage. And you have some very nice interpretations of courage, which we will share with you today. So anyway, it seems, is nobody willing to share?
Do we have on the live chat
We
box?
have. Okay, yeah, I'm on the chat. Is there anything on the live? Yeah, no responses. Anyway, so just keep that at the back of your mind. Okay, whether you are uh, what you think courage is, and then we'll see what really we all feel about courage, and then we'll come back to this question maybe at the end. So let's proceed with the rest of it. Uh, Pooja ji, if you can just start the slide. Yeah. Okay. So we go on to the next one. This is all about courage. Well, this is something, courage does not always roar, as they say. Okay, next. Okay, so this is what I asked you. And since you, you are still thinking, let me try and help you with these few questions. So what you can do is you have a notebook with you. Uh, just see, we'll go through these questions and just write true and false, whether this is true for you or false for you. You don't have to share it with anyone. It's just for you, yourself. So the first question is, I stand up for what is right, even if I stand alone. So if there's a situation where, it seems that you are the only person who seems to be thinking in a particular way, the other people are not thinking that same way, but you still stick to your point and you say that, okay, this is what I feel is right, and I continue to believe so, despite all others not saying so or agreeing with you. That's the first question. I don't cave into negative peer pressure. Now, you know what peer pressure is. When everybody nudges you or wants you to think in a certain way, do something together, all that puts pressure. So you may not agree with what they are doing, but sometimes you go along because everybody in the group says, no, 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 we are all doing this. So, but do you give in to that kind of a situation where everybody says, no, everybody's doing this? So you don't, or you say, no, I don't think this is right and I'm not going to do it. So do you do that? True or false for you? Third one, fear of failure does not prevent me from trying things. We'll come to this fear of failure or fear in general, because this has something very directly to do with our topic of today, which is courage. And we'll see how. So just ask yourself this: does it prevent you from trying things, new things also? I'm afraid to express myself just because some people might disapprove. So I'm always apprehensive. What would they think if I say this? Will they like it or not? Or whether they will agree with me or not. So do I think like that? Then I work to solve problems without violence. Now, this is something which you have to introspect. That I like to solve problems. Violence doesn't mean hitting around, or violence can also be something which hurts somebody. Your words can hurt. Your your gestures can hurt. The way you look at people can hurt. So all of this is, we've termed it as violence, though we generally understand violence as, something more aggressive and physical. So that's also a question. I never intentionally ridicule, embarrass, or hurt others. So this explains what we are saying. So now you look at all these answers and you say, overall, now you see uh, whether you feel that I am a person of courage, I have the courage the way I defined it, or I don't. Keep the answer to yourself and we'll go over to the next. Okay. So one of the first things which helps you to understand courage, or to be able to act in a particular way is your values. What is important to you? And when you know what is important for you, you will stand up to it, isn't it? I mean, if you don't know what you like, what you don't like, or what is right, what is wrong, according to you, or what you feel is the right way to act in a situation, all that is determined by what you value. What are your values in life? What you consider as good and worth valuing. Now, when you know this, only then will you be able to stand up to it. Otherwise, how will you stand up? And how will you even display or manifest that courage which you think should be there? So, this is the first step in understanding courage itself. Okay. So, next one. Okay. Now, even choices. How are we going to make choices? Without values, we can't. So, when we are going into this question of choices, unless we know our own mind, we will not be able to choose between what we feel is right and wrong. And we will also not have uh, an understanding of how we are feeling at the moment. Our own feelings we need to learn to understand. For instance, when we are afraid or when we are frightened, are we aware that we are frightened? When we are extremely happy, are we aware that we are happy? We get so immersed into that emotion, immersed into that feeling, that we probably lose that consciousness of the self. We don't even know what we are going through. So that is a very important thing. All these natural emotions that we have, of which fear is just one, we cannot learn to effectively deal with these emotions unless we develop the ability to be aware of them. While we are experiencing something, we also need to be aware that we are experiencing this. And therefore, I mean, when we develop this ability, are we able to do something about it? Otherwise, what happens? Like anger also, for that matter. In anger, we don't know. We just impulsively react. And that reaction is propelled by that strong feeling inside us, whether it's, whatever the reason. And then we get, out of control. We don't know. We end up doing something and we don't know. So therefore, whether it is courage or it is fear or it is anger or any of these strong emotions, we need to be to have the capacity to be aware of them, and then we know what we can do to maybe counter them or to face them or to find an antidote. For instance, for fear, I mean, courage is an antidote for fear. But if you don't know that you are afraid, how are you going to even start working towards a solution? Okay, so we'll go to the next. So how are we going to deal with, let's take fear as an example, because fear, as I said, is very directly related to courage. It is actually an antidote. How you counter fear is with courage. That's all. I don't think anybody will disagree with that. So let's see, how do we deal with fear? There is one way which heartfulness tells us. This is one of the techniques. Like yesterday, we shared one technique of left nostril breathing and so on. I mean, sorry, the nostril breathing technique was shared with you yesterday. Now, this is one more technique, what we call inquiry. Now, this inquiry is done by you yourself. And you can use some questions to find out what is it that creates fear in you. So that's the very first question. So for instance, if we are dealing with fear, this can be applied to anger also. This can be applied to some other things also. But here, since we are dealing with courage, we are taking fear as an example. And therefore, we ask the first question: what situations and conditions create fear in you? So just think of it. I'll pause for a moment on each of these questions. And if you have a notebook, write down just one or two words. to start with. You can do this in greater detail when you have time. Okay. Now, what are your worst fears? What is this that makes you most afraid, most fearful? Think of one or two situations, conditions, anything. Okay. Third one is, do you know why you feel fear? Why is it that you are feeling this, those worst kind of fears that you have? So one answer can be just yes and no. If you don't know, you can just simply say that I don't know. But if you can introspect and reflect and see how or why is it that you feel fearful towards what you do, whatever you have identified. Now, when we've identified what is it that makes me fearful, we can also think of the positive. So it's a process of doing both the things. So this is an inquiry, this whole technique of inquiry, which helps us to understand what is it that is making me fearful and what can I do to build courage and confidence to handle these fears and doubts that I have. Think of both. So right now, just one or two words. Would you like to share this? If anyone has written anything, would you like to share just in one word, what is it that makes you fearful? So I think, am I reaching out to everyone? Because no one seems to be responding. Okay. So you keep it to yourself.
We have one response here.
Okay. Where is that? Okay, sorry. Yeah.
So technically, if
yes. Being fearless. No. Ready to do
technically, if we know what is causing fear,
yes.
then can we try to build courage?
Yes.
And someone is saying, how can we face it, or how can we face our fear?
Okay, here it is. So technically we know what is okay. Face the fear. Okay. So we'll see how we can face fear. That is definitely the right solution, that we need to face it. But how exactly do we face it? I think is what we would look at in the next part of the session. Okay. So this is what it is. Path to courage. Now, one of the reasons why we are faced with fear, and this happens a lot at your stage, at the level, when we are young, we all have gone through this, this whole pressure to fit in. Now, there is a certain, we all know what is considered to be good in a situation, what kind of a person is acceptable, what kind of attributes are acceptable, and we all, whatever we consider ideal, now that understanding is built up through our through our social moorings, through our peers, through our family, through our, the people we live with, and then we all want to fit into that. We don't, mostly, there are of course rebels, but mostly, and that gives us a little bit of apprehension and fear in the long run. And then we ask ourselves this question: does fitting in mean you are sacrificing your values, or possibly even putting your health and safety at risk? So when we are trying to fit into that situation, or let's say we are wanting to flow along with our peers and our friends, does it mean that we are sacrificing? We spoke of values. Now you consider something right, but because there is this pressure, you are in a way sacrificing your values, or possibly even putting your health and safety at risk. Now, there is something which everybody wants to do in a group, and you know it is not right, but you're not able to say no. And therefore, you could be putting, according to your own understanding, putting yourself at risk. So it's not easy, but studies show that courage is needed for saying no to temptation and peer pressure. So this is the very first step to facing fear, that we need that little bit of courage, firstly, to say no to what you think is not right, or you don't want to do, or you don't want to flow along. And then the path to courage often starts with empathy. We all have the capacity to use our heart, but it tends to lie dormant. So this is one big clue here in this. How do we get started to face this fear? So the first element is that we have, somebody said, this is an inner capacity. One of the answers you gave to what is courage, that this is a capacity we all have. Yes, that's very right, that we have the capacity. But where does courage come from? It comes from the heart, not always from the mind, but this is a quality of the heart. But what happens is that usually we don't know that it's there. So it lies dormant unless we are aware, unless we know how to invoke it, unless we know how to bring it out and use it. It will lie dormant and it will lie unused. So that is a big clue as to how we get started. The first step to facing fear and the first step to being courageous starts from here, that we start to use. And empathy. Now, empathy means that we are able to, we are not reacting to what others are doing. We are trying to understand. We are also trying to understand ourselves. Empathy is both ways. Empathy is understanding ourselves, accepting and saying that, yes, what I feel is also right. Perhaps what they want to do is their part of the thinking. So I'm not reacting in a negative way to them. Yet I know what, according to me, is right. And I have the ability to say no because I feel so. So that is from where this whole journey starts. Okay, we go on to the next. Now, what can we do to bring courage into our lives? So, there's something we came across, something very interesting. And when you have free time, when you go back, today or later, just go through this. There's a wonderful video on YouTube. It's a TEDx talk by Cindy Solomon. And she says that, she relates some wonderful stories about her own experience in life, which made her understand what courage is all about. And one of the big things she says is that, one of the, I'm saying a big thing, but she says courage is something very big and huge, or something very, very, heroic. That is what we generally think about courage. But she says, no, it's not really something that much. Courage is every day in little things you need courage. Like we said, courage to say no to something which you don't want to do. That's where it is. It's not something so big and heroic. So that's the first thing she says. Then she says that it does not mean that if you are courageous, you do not have fear. You can be courageous, but you can still have fear, because it is fear which invokes courage. Only when you face fear, you are able to be courageous. See the link. So there's an understanding that, to be courageous, you have to be fearless. You never feel fear, and you can go into any situation and do anything. She says that's not really courage. Being courageous could also mean that it does not mean that you may not have fears. So accept that one fact. And then she says that here, some of these things, if you see, how do we instill it into the life? Then you can develop it. This is what she says. She said that it's not something which you are born with, It's not that you can just say that, okay, in black and white, this person is courageous, this one is not. And, if you say that, we tend to classify people, and we say, oh, this guy, this fellow, this person is courageous, he's very bold, and this one is, does not, or you say that the person is very, very docile. So docility does not mean that the person does not have courage, or nor does that kind of bullish approach to life mean that you are very courageous. Courage is something, as we understood, that it is uh, the ability to recognize what you consider right and the ability to do that at that moment. That's one part of the thing. And it is all of these things. Telling the truth, it requires courage. Saying you are sorry and meaning it, that requires courage, isn't it? Looking out for the little guy. Now, see, when you find somebody who's not able to feel the bearing, somebody is, soft and quiet, not able to find, his or her place in the group. So you look out and you help that person, make the person feel comfortable. That also needs courage. Taking responsibility. That's all about courage. You say, okay, I'm taking the first step and I'm taking the, responsibility for whatever that you need to do. Then showing up, which means basically that if even if when you are required to be there, you are there. And then, you will face a lot of tests. You will also fail in certain things that you do. You take up a job, you say, okay, I will do it, but maybe you are not able to do it. So you might fail, and then the ability to get back up and say, okay, I did not succeed this time, I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to try again. And you make that effort to try again. So you're not afraid, you're not ashamed to try, you're not bogged down by that failure. All of these things require, these are signs of courage, and these are manifestations of courage. So it's not one huge heroic thing that you do. You do all of these things every day in your life, isn't it? So this is one thing which even Cindy Solomon says, that you must recognize the opportunity. Whenever you feel fear, that is an opportunity for you to exercise your courage muscles. And these are little things that you do which will help you to develop courage and strengthen it. So whenever you are supposed to all of these things that we mentioned, to be able to tell the truth, to be able to say sorry, to be able to take responsibility, to be able to try again when you fail, all of these things are exercises. So whenever you feel that opportunity, do it and exercise it. And then, as we say, everything grows by using it and by exercising it. So does courage. Okay, next. So I think we'll few more things. This is something which our Heartfulness team has put together for you to take a look at and see how you can use it to your advantage. And we've called it HEART, HEART. And HEART stands for the ability to help, to empathize, to assist, to reassure, and tell others how you feel. So these are the 5 things we thought will help you to develop the inner strength to say no to others and stick to what you know is right for you. That is one of the manifestations of courage, as I said, to be able to say what you feel and to act according to what you feel. What will help you do that? These 5 things. Let us see how. Let's quickly go over to the next slide. So taking responsibility now, that is one thing which we mentioned. Help. If a friend is pressuring you to try something you don't want to do, seek help from somebody, so that you can offset that pressure. Now, similarly, someone else may be needing that help. And you see that, when you find somebody, a friend of yours, who's under pressure, somebody is putting that pressure, you can also extend your help and say, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. I'm with you. Let's see what is the right thing. If you feel that way, I'm with you. So that little thing can help you to get that little strength at that moment of time. Okay. E stood for empathy, empathizing. So you may have, again, a friend in a situation who's about to do something dangerous, which could be as small as bullying or teasing somebody, or doing something even more, possibly leading to something more dangerous. So at that point, You know, directly opposing a person will not be a good thing, because the other person can also react aggressively. It doesn't help. So we feel what you can do at this stage is compassionately, you can let the person know that you understand why you want to do it, but you would not like the person to do it. You would like the person to stop there, and you say that I am with you if you stop, if you do not do this. So that takes, it also develops courage. It helps us. Next. So again, assist. You could offer to assist your friend, like, you know uh, be on the lookout if there's somebody who needs that help, and you can ask somebody who you trust to also extend that help to a friend or to you. So assistance, taking assistance, giving assistance is also one of the strategies uh, of heart. Then reassure. Now you have to understand that when you deal with friends, you need reassurance so many times. So we have to understand that each one of us needs it. So you can take it freely when it's coming from somebody. It helps you so much. It gives you so much comfort when somebody says, okay, I understand you and I'm there with you. It gives us so much of strength and reassurance. So similarly, you can understand others need it too. So you could be there for your friends to offer this. And then you should be able to have the ability to tell how you feel. Now, and in a situation when you find somebody, uh, you know, uh, not agreeing with you, somebody in a situation where you don't want your friend to go in a certain direction, you, as I said earlier, instead of opposing, you can say that I know what you're trying to do. I can understand, but I don't agree with it. And I'm worried that this will not be the right thing for you to do. So how do you do it with empathy, with, with compassion? That will really help. We can help each other to develop this ability to use that courage which is lying dormant inside us. So all this heart, these five, these uh, steps that we said, these small strategies are only to invoke or evoke that courage which is lying dormant. Okay, so we almost come to the end of this part of understanding, but let us see if we can do something very directly to handle fear. And we have a technique called fear detox, which Heartfulness offers. One of the very important techniques. So let's see, we'll quickly go through this and then we will go into meditation as well. So let's start. Okay, first thing is you just sit back, relax. Am I audible clearly, Anjali?
Yes, you
Yeah,
are.
thank you. Okay. So just sit back, close your eyes and relax. Bring your attention to yourself. Scan your body from head to toe. And if you feel any kind of tension anywhere, just let go and relax. Bring your attention to your heart. Try to go deeper into yourself, into your heart, as if you are diving deep inside yourself. The heart has the ability to accept everything. Feel that you have this ability. Your heart has this ability to accept everything. everything that creates this fear. Remember, we took a note of what causes fear in you. So if that is coming to your mind, just accept it. Accept it in the sense that you understand it, and the heart can take that. You say, it's okay. And feel that this acceptance in your heart is spreading into your entire system. As this acceptance, this feeling of acceptance becomes deeper and it spreads into your system, you feel a lightness inside you. You feel a vacuum. Just check. You will feel a vacuum the moment you accept everything. That true acceptance itself brings a lightness, a vacuum inside us. So look for that vacuum, feel that vacuum inside you. Now you feel that this vacuum is being filled with the light of the divine. The divinity, the presence of divinity in us, which is already there, is filling up this vacuum. It automatically will fill this vacuum because, as you know, in nature, vacuum does not remain. So you can feel this divinity flowing into us, into you, filling up this vacuum and spreading into your entire system. And from here, we will also go on to the next step, which is an even more effective technique for an overall, this understanding and of tackling this whole issue of fear. Not just that, invoking the right feelings within us which can counter all this. So once this fear has gone out of our system, divinity is there. Let us now meditate for some time on this. Bring your attention gently to your heart. So we'll put the next slide there. Have you? Yeah. So we're going into, you can open your um, um, eyes if you feel for a moment, and just, or if you feel like staying with your eyes closed as you feel like it, I'm just going to give you a few guidelines as to how we are going to do this meditation. So when this meditation starts, and this will happen in your other sessions also. So these are guidelines for all the sessions, that when guided meditation starts, when the trainer says, please start meditation, you are expected to close your eyes and you do not look at the screen, and you continue to meditate until the trainer says or the facilitator says that is all. So that's the first step. The second step is that we do not have any music or anything else to go with meditation. Meditation means you are purely absorbed inside in the feelings inside you. So there's no external thing. We are completely withdrawn from the external world and we are completely inside ourselves. So this is what heartfulness, one of the main features of heartfulness meditation is. Then you're not to interact with anybody. Just withdraw yourself. No chatting, no uh, interacting with anybody. Meditation can be anywhere between 15, 20, 30 minutes. It can be up to a duration that the facilitator or trainer will determine, which is fine for that time. And you just have to go by the suggestions given by the trainer. So let us go back into ourselves, withdraw our attention from everything, and start with the resolve that we are not going to be distracted. Come back to the heart. Take your attention to the heart. Feel that there's a source of light or the divine presence in your heart. And this divine presence is attracting you towards it. You do not have to look for any light or visualize any light, just a feeling. It's just a feeling that the source of light or divine presence is in us, in me, in my heart, and it's attracting me towards it. Do not be worried by thoughts which may come. Do not get concerned or attracted by those thoughts. Just ignore them. And you continue to remain absorbed in this feeling of divine presence. Please start meditation. That's all. Keep your eyes closed for a few more moments and observe your feelings. And I hand over to Anjali ma'am to conclude this session. Over to you, Anjali ma'am.
Thank you so much, Gyan sir. I think it's always so calming and so peaceful to listen to your voice. And it just, I think that itself removed all fears and instilled us with courage. And I like that you said that I know we're talking about managing exam stress, but that's not the only reason we need courage. There are many more situations to face even after the exams. So thank you so much for guiding all of us as to how we can build courage in our hearts. What is the need? What are the techniques we can follow? I'm sure our participants today felt really calm, relaxed, and are feeling more brave to face whatever is to come. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, my dear students, thank you for participating today. And those who have joined us on both days, that is yesterday and today, that's really great. Yesterday we had some of you joining between 5 and 6, but many more watched the session later on. So that was great. So I hope you'll join us tomorrow as well. Tomorrow we have a session on resilience, that what do you do when things don't go as planned, when they don't go your way? How do we respond and how do we get back on track? Doesn't that happen? And especially it has happened to us in this past year, isn't it? That nothing went as planned. We'd never experienced a situation like this before. So how to build that kind of resilience, as we call it, and how to make it work for us for preparing for our exams and even in our challenges later on in life. So I hope you will all join us tomorrow as well to participate in this session on resilience. We'll also be meditating together. I'm sure all of you have felt so relaxed and calm after this session of meditation today. So I hope you will definitely not miss tomorrow's session. We might share another technique with you that you have not done in the past 2 days. So it will be something new as well. So do join us tomorrow. Tell all your friends. Feel free to even ask your parents to sit with you so that we all can do this together as a team. They also learn to meditate. That definitely will help everyone in the house. So I hope everyone joins as a family, and I hope teachers will also join so that we can think how we can recreate this peaceful atmosphere in our classrooms. So hope to see many of you join in large numbers. So with that, I think we'll end today's session. Thank you so much for joining, and I'm eagerly awaiting meeting all of you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. May you have a very nice evening ahead. Goodbye.